Well, good evening. How are you all doing today? There's only 16 people here. I guess since I missed last week... Wait, no, why am I in this screen? Since I missed last week, people forgot about me. This is the current day and age. You don't stream or have a video for a week, you're forgotten. You're old news. You don't matter anymore. Well, guess what? We don't care. We're just gonna continue anyway. We have a more intimate crowd. So let's see who is here. Timothy Mason says, excited for another stream. And Nigel Young, hi all. Will we have some smoke tonight? Maybe. Let's see. Well, that's the correct attitude. And Kosmivo says, let's paint some pets with pet-friendly food coloring this stream. We're not doing that. I don't know why he wants to do that, but that's not what's going to happen. Because, it's my stream. Maybe he has its own stream where he does that. I don't know. Then there's Soren Wilrot. He says, hello there. And Jaco Weiss is here. Hiya. Who are you? Who am I? I am Quindor. Hello. I am the owner of this channel, Intermittent Technology, Queen LED, and stuff like that. And Johnny Bergdahl is here. Okay, well, we'll try and make some LEDs glow pink. Oh, well, what do you know? It's pinkish. It's more pink in real life. I don't know. Koningsnacht. Yeah, I don't do all that kind of crap. So that's why we're here. Oh, and Jaguran is here. And Nico Bill says, Guten Abend from Germany. Hello there. Guten Abend again, says Buzzed. Ta-da! You're not hitting the bars tonight, Johnny? Or maybe later? You're gonna miss all the fun. I don't know. Last week, no, not 2 weeks ago, we had explosions. I have since fixed that board, so it's not exploded anymore. You can't really see. And I think I've also figured out a way to make it not explode. But yeah. There's 28 people here. That's good. So tonight we have some exciting drinks. We have Fanta Zero Sugar Lemon, because I felt like it. It's not... Nope. No. The focus is like... Oh, there we go. Fanta Zero. But... we have a special one I've wanted to drink for, I don't know, 1 or 2 years now since I learned of its existence. I think because of this stream, I couldn't find it anywhere in the Netherlands, but a few weeks back I was in Belgium, and there they had Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. So I'm looking forward to that. It's been years since I've had Dr. Pepper. Not tonight, but Bit Looney is streaming now as well. Oh no, are we stream hogging? Are we into? No one's here. No, that's okay. Yeah, well, I don't know. This is the regular time I stream, so I didn't mean to make your schedule conflicted there. But yeah. Doesn't he usually stop around this time anyway? Because I think he started a lot earlier. Let me check. He usually streams on Tuesdays. Ah, yeah. When did he start? Oh, an hour ago. Okay, that's not that. Okay, well, I guess we'll have to divide the viewers. That's how it goes. Are you dual streaming now, Johnny? Wait, the music's still loud. Nobody told me. Something like that. There. Are we in 60 FPS? Yes, we are. Oh, the hand. It focuses on the hand. Okay, fine. It's fine, camera. You're doing great. So yeah, I'm going to start with this one in the pre-stream. And then we'll move to the Dr. Pepper once we have the Diff-Power hooked up and working. And then after that, we'll try and break it. Dual stream for the win. Nice. So then, Johnny and everyone else, if you're not hitting the bars, what are you drinking tonight? Lost the signal. Oh no, did we lose the signal? No, we didn't. We have 0 dropped frames. Don't know yet. Maybe a beer later. Okay, okay. Påskmust, a Swedish Easter thing. I'm gonna Google that. Is it safe to Google? Oh, Coke Zero. To go with the pizza. Well, that's a good combination. Okay, let me Google that. Julemust. A soft drink that is mainly consumed in Sweden around Christmas. Okay, well, this is then, I guess, the Easter version. During Easter, the name is Påskmust. Påskmust? During the rest of it, it's sometimes sold under the name Must. So it has 3 names for the same thing. That's confusing. The content is the same regardless of the marketing name. Okay, cool. Oh, it's fizzy. Nice. Yeah, I was looking at that. Okay, so a seasonal drink, I guess, which changes name per season. That's okay. Monster Energy Low Carb. Oh, I regularly drink Monster, sometimes 1 a day, but I only drink the Ultra variant. But I actually ran out. So now, I don't know, I need to order new, but I'm gonna go on a trip to China again in a week, so I don't know, we'll see. I usually order them like per 12 cans per flavor, and then I pay like $18. So that is, I don't know what that is. 18 divided by 12. €1.50 per can. And that's for half a liter of, energy drinks, so that's not bad. Påskmust didn't exist when I was a kid. Okay. But yeah, I like the Monster Energies. But, I guess you could call it my coffee. But later on we have this. So, yeah. Noise. Well, let's see if things are going to explode today. I don't actually know. Well, yeah, I've been working and testing Diff-Power for the past few months. I haven't in the past 2 or 3 weeks, so I'm a bit behind. I need to play a little bit of catch up. But, Draadstal is here. So yeah, we're first going to be building the whole setup with some digital and analog LEDs and UTP cables and things like that. And then, I don't know, let's start hot plugging it like there's no tomorrow. And then see if it explodes. I'm hoping it doesn't, because otherwise, I don't know. Maybe I'll release it in the current form or not, but... Halla Staldrat. Staldrat? Okay, I don't know. I should not do Swedish accents because I have no idea. I expect a lot of magic smoke tonight, says Nick. Maybe not. We just don't know. So we're still on the new streaming setup, but so far it's looking great. And it's performing great. I'm really happy with it. There's a lot of complaints about the NVIDIA 50 series. But I guess it kind of depends what you're upgrading from. If you're going from a 1080 to a 5070 Ti, it's a big performance jump, I can tell you that. And that 1080 was like, I don't know, 600 euros 8 years ago, and this one was now 750. So, kind of, in line with price and inflation and things like that. Yeah. Oh, you still use a 1080 Ti? Well, up until like a few weeks ago, the streaming PC had a 1080, which was actually pretty good because it had dual NVENC encoders. But, it struggled with HEVC, and it didn't do any AV1, and I wanted to switch to AV1. And, I could see frame drops and limitations from what I was doing, because it has a 5900X, so a 12-core CPU. That should be plenty. But, yeah. Not sure what I have. The first RTX one. Well, that is the 10 series, so... No, wait, that's not the 10 series. That's the 20 series. Yeah, because I had a GTX 1080, and then it was an RTX 20 whatever. But I skipped that generation. Then I had the 3090. But I sold that last year and went to a 4070 Ti Super. No, 46, I don't know. 4070 Ti Super, yeah. But I kind of want to get a 5090 because I'm running into VRAM issues now with my video editing. The 3090 had more VRAM. There's a cable here. Okay. But I don't know. They need to come down in price. I'm not going to pay like 50% over sticker price. That's stupid. 20 series. Yeah. I think that's the one. The first RTX series. Yeah. Yeah, but I'm really happy with the 5070 Ti for streaming because it has the dual encoders. It only has a single decoder, but then, this machine is doing multiple encodes, so I need more encoders, not decoders. What would you say is important to look for in LED driver datasheets? Acceptable voltage triple peak to peak for 24 LED strip rated lifetime. Blah. Well, what kind of strip are you driving? Are you doing constant voltage, constant current? Is the driver also a dimmer? Does it do PWM output? What are we talking about? There's a lot of questions here. Ray tracing, so insignificant. Well, maybe it was then, but nowadays, I can see the fidelity of it in graphics, so that's nice. But it took a while for the horsepower to catch up, and now with DLSS being improved and frame generation and things like that, should become somewhat usable. Just constant voltage, it's addressable LEDs. Oh, I don't know, maybe compare with a Meanwell datasheet. Those are generally pretty good. The LRS series is a good mainstream budget power supply, and if you want something better, look at the UHP series. Johnny Berger ran into hardware issues trying to stream my ultra-wide monitor. Turns out I can only hardware encode 49,000. Yeah, well, probably newer encoders are better at that. Yeah. I actually ran into an issue with my new monitors. I used to have a triple monitor setup, but then I switched to two 4K 240 Hz displays, and I hooked up a third one, and it was like, nope, no output for you. I was like, what? Why? The display engine can output 4 displays. It can, but it has a sort of internal max resolution refresh rate limit at 4K 480 Hz. So you can do 4K 240 times 2, but then the internal thingy, whatever it is basically maxed out in bandwidth, and you can't add more displays. Now, the 50 series should be better in that regard, but, my main machine doesn't have a 50 series yet, so. Mine is like 5100 pixels, yeah. Oh, Soren replaced his hard disk last week with a newer one. Old one was 15 years old. I think the hard disks I'm using to record NVR footage onto, because I have 2 old 4 terabyte hard disks for doing that. I think those are, I don't know. We can check. Are we still? Yeah, we're still in the pre-stream. We can check. So let's go to my server. Def disk by ID. What's the command again? Smart-ctl -i def disk by ID. And then I need no. Yes, these. Okay. Oh wait, do physical disks report how long they've been spinning? I was thinking about SSDs. Those do, of course. Let me, I guess, show you this screen. There. It's not that big, but this is just for fun. Let's see if we can. How can we see the life of the disk in Smart-ctl? I guess I should Google that because I don't want to look it up. Smart-ctl hours spinning. Min all, okay. See, I didn't get this. The command's right there, but it's gone from my buffer. That's so stupid. Okay. No? Okay. All. Okay, yeah. And then power on hours. The raw value is 90. I think this is hours, so that's good. Let's see. That's 97,000 hours divided by 24. That is 4,075 days. Divided by 365. Oh, it's 11.16 years. But these are just two non-rated old 4 terabyte disks that only get IP camera footage. So if they die at some point, yeah, you know, that's not the worst. Oh, to see how many times the disk spun up, I just closed it, so... But yeah, those discs are, you know, very much, if they fail, they fail. I have some more that, you know, have been down for 5 or 6 years, so then I could try and swap it with those, and if they don't work anymore, they don't work anymore. But now it's just some, you know, free extra space. Your Twitch stream was 2 FPS. Yeah, that's not good. Like randomly unmounting itself. That's also not good. That's not what a disk is supposed to do. Don, you could always pass the links on the Discord and, you know, we'll check it out. But I generally don't recommend anything I don't have personal experience with. But, yeah, they could be good. I don't know. Lifetime is mostly lower. Yeah. The house plans have been kind of in limbo, Piotr. Mostly because I've just been too busy with the QuinLED stuff and development and all kinds of things going on and the stupid tariffs and I don't know what. There's been all kinds of things that have kind of prevented me from putting my mind to also working on that. I'm going to China in a week. To do some lab testing there and arrange some other stuff. And I'm hoping that when I'm back from that, my brain space will have cleared up enough that I can start working on getting the house built again. Because currently we have the land, so it's costing money. So that's not good. But yeah. Hey, CJ is here. Yeah, well, we did some PSU testing on streams. If you have a load tester, that's a good way to test a PSU. But if you're just orienting to buy one, it's very hard to figure out. At least if it has a datasheet, that's often a good thing. So, right. So slowly start building this thing. As I said, we'll build the system, and I'll show it off a little bit as it currently is, and then later we'll try and wreck it in various ways. That's always good, isn't it? Okay, so let me get these out. So the main star of today is this guy, and then we have this one we need, this one we need, this can go. We have some botched versions of this guy. These are not supposed to work that way. We'll talk about those in a minute. But I just needed extra. So what we're looking at today is Diff-Power. And I've been showing it off here and there for, I think, since late last year. And the main star of the show is this guy. This is now the Sender-7. It used to be the Sender-8, but I ran into technical limitations, so now it's the Sender-7. And this falls within the Dig-Octa lineup, but it's also its own lineup with being Diff-Power. Now, what is Diff-Power? Diff-Power is basically a way to send data, LED data, and power over a UTP cable, and let's say up to 100 or 200 meters away, depending on how much power you need, so that you can have your controller centrally located. So this can go in your garage or in your equipment closet or anywhere like that, and then you can just run UTP cables to wherever you like that have the data and power on there. And then on the receiving side, you need a receiver board. Currently, I have some digital receiver boards, as in the medium. I also have a maxi for 5 volt, which has more outputs and fusing and things like that. But today we're testing with this guy. And I also have a analog board, which is a 5-channel analog board. Now, what we're sending is 55 volt to be able to send that over a UTP cable. That is, of course, much too high for our LEDs to use. So the remote receiver side will have a buck converter, and you can get those buck converters in 5 volts, for instance, or 24 volt, or 12 volt, or whatever you need. Is that cap blown? Which cap are we talking about? Is there a blown cap? I don't see any. Oh, you mean... okay, I've been reworking this board left and right, so there might be some Kapton tape left over and things like that. But there shouldn't be anything blown. Where do you see a blown cap there, Nigel? Anyway, yeah, so that is basically the system. You have a sender board that sends 55 volt and a data signal, and then a receiver board that then receives that all over a single UTP cable. Each port can deliver about 100 watts effectively. So once it's transferred back to 24 or transformed back to 24 volt or 5 volt, you should have roughly 100 watt to play with. But that kind of depends on how long your cable is. Let's say if your cable is 25 meters, you'll have the full 100 watt, no problem. But if your cable is, say, 200 meters, well, even at 55 volt, you're going to have some voltage drop there, which will determine the maximum amount of power you can use. So then it's likely not 100 watt, but like 75 watt or something like that. That still needs further testing, but yeah. It being 7 channels bothers you. Yeah, I can understand that. It kind of bothers me too, but there was just no technical way to be able to achieve this with the amount of hardware that I need per channel. So each you can see each of the channels here, they each have a hardware block which works, to facilitate the channel. And this new iteration adds a function that we link the from the above. It looks like the third cap starting from the bottom is bulging. Yeah, oh yeah, it is. You're actually, wow. You have a keen eye there. Let me try and show you. It actually is. See that? That's because I had to rework the board multiple times because this is a prototype testing board, and well, it got very hot at some point, even with Kapton tape, etc. It got really hot because I needed to heat up some components to get them off. So that's why it's bulging. It's still working fine, but yeah. But anyway, I needed to make it 7 channels because you can't use the 8th channel if you're also using I2C, and we are using I2C to this bottom board here, as you can see with these little cables from the brain board, to then power these chips. And what that does, if we take a closer look there, we see some channel enable LEDs, and that means we can actually individually enable and disable the channels from WLED or ESP Home or whatever you're running. So if you have a remote receiver connected, like, I don't know, like so, if it's always powered, that means, especially with digital LEDs connected, those are always going to seep a lot of idle current. Now, if you have say 2,000 LEDs on the remote side, that is a lot of idle current for just doing nothing. And this way you can actually shut off per channel each of these output ports, and then the main power, not all power will be cut, but the main power will be cut. And that means that there's no idle current, or like 0.1 watt per channel, to make sure the remote board is alive. And then you can software enable it again, etc. Will you have recommendations on power supplies for the main board? Yes. I have some Chinese versions. I want to test like 1500 watt versions. Now, as I said, each port can do about 100 watts. So that would be 700 watts. But yeah, in the end, I will have recommendations for what power supply to use, etc. But since this can be in a remote location, it doesn't, the power supply could potentially make a bit of noise, have a fan in there, because the remote board, will be silent. Almost missed it. Nice. It will be limited to 15 amps in. So there are input fuses on this board too. But with 15 amps at, let's see, 15 times 55. Yeah, that's 825 watts of potential incoming power. And we have 700 watts of potential outgoing power. So that should be fine. Yeah, but so one of the new features of this board is that you can enable and disable channels in software, and then it actually disables the outgoing power to it. But let's first hook it up in a simple way. We have a 5-volt output here, and we'll hook up more later. Oh, go away. Yeah. I need a 5-volt strip. No. Yep. Yep, so this is some SK6812, 300 LEDs. Let's hook this up to here. Let's first hook this up to power. Now we're only going to use one power cable today. As I said, that will limit it to 5 amps, but for the testing we're doing today, that shouldn't be a problem. Do I have a screwdriver? Seems I don't. What? Yeah, show's cancelled. No screwdriver. No. I don't know. Oh, yeah. I put it back in the wrong place. So that's the thing to remember with the Dig Octa boards, because it basically works the same as a Dig Octa power board. This is a normal Dig Octa brain board, so if you already have one of those, you could actually use that one. If you only hook up one cable like I'm doing here, you will be limited in the amount of power you can use. In this case, it's 5 amps, and we're only going to be using 1 or 2 ports, so that is fine. That's no problem. Okay, I think I need Ethernet. Let's see if this cable is hooked up to a compatible port. I think so. Not 100% sure though. How do these cables always tangle up? Oh, it's a Dr. Z's there. Cool. Okay, let's hook this up to Ethernet. And let's turn on the power supply. So we're setting the power supply to 55 volt. And let's give it 8 amps to play with. And let's put on the safety glasses. That's always a good thing. Always put on the safety glasses. Is this the safety glasses I want? Yes. Good. Okay. Now, this should work, but as I said, the last I touched it was a few weeks back, so I don't know. Okay. 55 volt, 8 amps, go. Yeah, that looks good. Okay. Some of the LEDs still need adjusting in strength, as is obvious by the glowing blue blob there. Oh, I didn't get an IP? Why not? That's all. Oh, there it is. No, wait. Why is it... Oh, see, that's what I was afraid of. This Ethernet cable is not compatible. I need a different one. Do I have one here? No. Hold on just a moment. I know I have one somewhere. Just don't know where. Is this one? I think so. Yeah. Let's try that. And reboot the board. There we go. Okay, that's what I was looking for. Okay, so I have WLED in front of me, and it's already pre-configured. We're not going to look at that too much today, but if I turn off the power, those should also turn off, as you can see. Now they're delayed because I'm using the multi-relay mod. Actually, I can show you, and let me fix that real quick. There. Let's make that a little bit bigger. Okay. Yeah, so we're in the WLED interface. Let's do it like that. And let's make this a bit bigger. There. And I have the multi-relay mod configured. So we have the multi-relay. We're using the PCF and enabled and address, etc. And then we can set the relay ports to have a delay. So I have some set for 1 second. So let's make them all 1 second. I don't know. Actually, let's make something funny. So let's do 4 here. 3 here, 2 here, and this is 1 second. Okay, save. So now if we, currently power is off. If we turn on power, some will turn on immediately and others will turn on later. I don't know, it's stupid. Anyway, it's just to show that you can control, oh, there we go. Yeah, you can control each of those outputs individually. So you can basically software turn them off. Now, currently, how useful that is, maybe not too much yet, because, well, it's basically all on or off anyway. In ESP Home, you could be more granular, because then you can tie certain outputs to certain, how do you call it? Certain actions, etc. So then you could say, if the lights are off, turn off the port 2, and things like that. Impressive that the Ethernet cable is not labeled. What? It should not blow the... Yeah, no, one of the cables I have here is in an SFP that only does 10 gigabit, so that's why it doesn't work with the Dig-Octa. Right, so the idea of the system is, and let's check the configuration real quick. Okay, this is SK6812. This is WS2805. Okay, there's all kinds of configurations here, but I think the first port will be this one. Yeah. So, in theory, what we can do now, let's just turn it on. So, the outputs are enabled, as you can see by the blue shining beacon. Let's plug it in here. Let's plug, here is this module here. Let's plug it in there. And then you'll see it light up, but not fully yet. And I give it a few seconds, and then it turns on. And now we have a, well, remote LED strip running just over that UTP cable. Now this is a silly short UTP cable, but you can use 100 meters to etc. Let's tone that down and brighten this. Oh, I see. I didn't read there, Dr. Zees. Yeah, there's documentation on the website, but you can use all three power methods for the brainboard at the same time, and it still shouldn't matter, even with varying voltages. So that's no problem. Yeah, this is Diff-Power. Let's see. Gary has a question. What would I use to send a data signal from a Dig-Octa 15 meters plus using 4x 18 gauge non-twisted pair, only access at both ends? Does it also need to transport power, or do you only need data? So the first thing I try is using the Dig-Octa set to 33R mode, and then having data and ground on a bundled cable or twisted cable. That often will make the 15 meters. It's a bit questionable after 10 meters, but that's certainly something you can try. And otherwise you could try a Diff Solo or a Diff Advanced. It officially does require twisted cable and also a certain impedance, but it's worth a shot because it's not that long for a differential, basically. You'll have to make a little adapter to go from the RJ45 plug to your own cable, but, you know, that should be doable. Ethernet cables are specified for how much power in total? Well, they aren't specified for any power. That's just the thing. In my design, each pair I'm using for power is limited to 750 milliamps. And that is basically around the same that Ethernet is also doing with PoE. So, you know. And that is hardware limited per pair. You can see a whole bank here of PTCs. So, yeah. Either maybe source power local. Well, if you source power local, you can try using a pair, if that's available, with data and ground as close together, and then for the whole run in 33R mode. That's your best bet. And if that doesn't work, you can try one of the Diff products and see if that works. But then you'll have to make a little cable adapter. Okay, well, anyway, in a nutshell, that is Diff-Power. You have this remotely, this part, and there's only a UTP cable in between there, and it'll send all the power and all the data to that remote location. So if you have a prop or something else there, you only need to run a single cable, and also you don't need to worry that much about voltage drop or things like that anymore, because we're running a 5 volt LED strip, which would be impossible for 100 meter cable. But using this system, that's no problem. And as you can see, if we turn it off, it actually, you know, turns off those output ports so that now these still glow dimly because there is still some power going there to sense that the remote board is there, but that's only, 0.1 watts or something like that. And then once you turn it on again, it remotely turns on and you have your LEDs again. If you are supplying 55 volt to the system, well, yeah, you're meant to supply 55 volt. That is the whole idea. You can do it with 48, but I wouldn't go much lower than that, because then you're going to run into power issues at certain distances. Because the way this works is, even though we're sending 55 volt on this side, maybe on this side we're only receiving 30 volt because of voltage drop. That's no problem, because we just have a buck converter here which converts it to 5 volt anyway. So as long as it's above the minimum input voltage for the buck converter, that we're losing, say, 20 volt on the cable over that distance, it's not a big deal. Why is the DC-DC only 36 volt? Yeah, well, that is, you need to read the data sheet. These 36 to 48 volts are rated for up to 60 volt input. So that's why it works. Yeah, I mean, I can get a longer cable to demonstrate. Hold on. So here's this cable. I believe this is 50 meters. Right? Oh, ow. That hurts. Hold on. Hey there, Smart Home Sellout. Yeah, so let's take a look at the power. Currently we're using 7.15 watts. Okay, but that's with this little short cable here. Let me remove this here. So let's disconnect that. Let's disconnect that. Okay. And how am I going to do it? Okay, let's do it like that. Okay. Let's see. Takes a little bit. There. And it's displaying again. Oh, it's still using 7.15 watts. Okay, so because we're not using a lot of power, the amount of drop we're getting in this cable, wait, why did it flicker? Basically isn't that much, so yeah, it doesn't make a difference. Oh, spam bots, yeah. Right, so we can up the brightness maybe. That'll use more power. Currently we're using 13 watts. But yeah, I mean, as I said, the idea is that you can always pull a UTP cable, and you kind of don't have to worry about it anymore as long as you're staying under 100 watts of usage on the remote side. That should be fine, right? Yeah. That's kind of the idea. And the board stays the same, but you can get a different buck converter. For instance, here is a 24 volt one. If you then get a 24 volt LED strip, you can use a 24 volt LED strip, and you can use all of these ports to go all over your house wherever you need them. That's kind of the idea. I'm doing a bad job at explaining it today. And well, one of the features is, oh, that's why, okay, that you can actually hot plug them. So you can just plug it in. It takes a little bit to activate, and then, it still works. But that is one of the things we're going to test today. We're going to hot plug it really fast, really a lot of times, and see if it explodes. I'm hoping the mechanism I have now works for that, but we'll see. Yes, so in phase 1, as I'm calling it, we're going to be using these external buck converters. And these are from XWST from AliExpress. So you would have to purchase those separately from the system. This system also isn't designed to be cheap. This system is designed to be easy. So buying a controller and hooking it up directly will always be cheaper. But if you want central controllers in your house and have LED strips in various rooms, this will be much easier. So it's a trade-off there versus easy versus price. So I mean, this buck converter alone costs like $10, and then you also need the receiver board, which is likely also $10. So then one of these setups will already be $20 without this part, right? Would have made things a lot easier, Piotr says. Well, exactly. That is what this is for. And even better is this is a digital LED strip. But if we take this cable, and I'm going to change it from port because I have it differently configured, and then take this analog LED strip and plug it in there. There. Now we have an analog LED strip. Same setup, same cable, different receiver board, same buck converter. So this way you can run high quality white strips or even RGBCCT like this is doing. Hold on. Yeah, basically all using the same system. Now, as I said, phase 1 will be these external buck converters, and you can get them in high power because this is a 120 watt buck converter, so this can do the full power basically. How many channels? This is a RGB-CCT, so 5 channels. You can better see it on this board. Yeah. Oh, wait. So this has the bucked voltage output, 2 white channels, and an RGB, so RGB CCT basically. There's a fuse on there. And the unique thing about the analog boards is actually that it has an in port and an out port so that they can be daisy chained. And I'll share a secret later in the stream, which will make that very interesting. Yeah, so the idea is you can run cables from the central node, or you can daisy chain them if you're using analog to have several boards behind each other, basically. And, well, we're now doing this. If we take this little cable again and connect it here, like so. There. Now we have a single controller that is doing digital and analog. And if you separate those in segments, you can control them individually, etc. Basically, the limitation is the current brain boards. Those are still using ESP32, so it's advised to stay around 2000 LEDs or so, because otherwise the performance drops too much. I'm going to take these off for now. But yeah, the idea is to have a system which is basically universal in sending data and power, and then having remote boards that interpret that signal either going to analog LEDs or to digital LEDs, and making it easy to distribute either, well, whatever setup you imagine. If you have a house with a patch panel, you can use a patch panel with this and then go to the rooms where you need it and then just patch in the LEDs. Single cable, power and data, done. Or if you have a Jesus. Hold on. There, that's better. If you have a central box in your garage, for instance, and you want to run out to one or multiple props, you can run just, again, UTP cables which have the data and power. Those can be 50, 100, 150 meters, or I don't care. And that way you can easily run and power your props and still have remote power control and everything like that. Is there a limitation, but no limitation per sender receiver? Well, each receiver only has a single data port, so I'd advise around a 600 LED limit there. But, you know, you're also limited in power, so yeah. 100 watts isn't nothing, though. I mean, yeah. So yeah. Now, one of the things that earlier iterations, let's call them those, didn't do too well was hot plug support. And I'm not still on the fence if I should officially support hot plugging or not, because especially with the newer boards, or with this new board, if I turn off the power and these actually turn off, you can also see these now turn off, and we're down to 3 watts of power usage. Yeah, the power to the remote boards is already turned off, so plugging it in and out isn't a problem. You can see there is a status LED there, which is a sensing LED. So if I unplug this one, it doesn't see that there's a remote board, and if I plug it in, it does see that there's a remote board, like so. And if I enable power again, power actually also flows to the remote boards, which then turn on there. So when you're messing with the system, I would still advise to turn off the output power. You can do that software-wise or hardware-wise, whatever. But in theory, the circuit I have on there now should do okay with hot plugging. Would power injection on the 5-volt stops be supported at the remote board? Yes. But, so this buck converter tops out at around 30 watts at 5 volt, right? So it can do 6 amps. This one can do 5 amps, but at 24 volts. So this is 120 watt. So you need a bigger board. I've also developed those. I don't think I have one that is currently mounted together. But for instance, this is a prototype for that. This is a prototype for a board that will take, let's see, yes, that will take this buck converter, and this buck converter is 5 volt 20 amp, so that's again 100 watt, right? That mounts to this board, so this board is designed to be spaced with this buck converter. And that then has, well, these were still using PTCs. In the end, they will be replaced by replaceable fuses. But that then has 3 outputs, a 5 amp, a 10 amp, and a 5 amp. So you can do front, middle, and end. And of course, 3 ground terminals. And a single data output. And then you can feed, for instance, a 10 meter 5 volt strip perfectly, right? But the problem is these buck converters just run out at 6 amps, and no matter the voltage, so you have to go to a beefier one, right? But I'm thinking these will also be available, or rather this one, at the start, because it's mostly been developed and tested. I need to make some changes in it, but yeah. Yeah, for 5 volt applications, this board makes sense. For all other 12 volt and 24 volt, you're basically fine with this medium size board. And this is called a large receiver. This is called a medium receiver. Sorry, this one. That is all for phase 1. Phase 2 will have integrated buck converters and some other configurations that I'm working on. Yeah, I have multiple phases for this planned out, but for instance, it would be nice to have some boards that might not have 6 amp of output power, but maybe 2 or 3 amp, especially 12 or 24 volt, which then don't need this bulky buck converter, but have everything on the PCB itself. But to also jointly develop that while developing this was a bit too much to chew off. So the first phase of the system is going to be with external buck converters, and then the second phase is likely going to be with integrated buck converters for like the medium and smaller size boards, and well, there'll be various types of receiver boards available. This system does not take into account 48 volt LEDs because we're sending 55 volt, but the system is based around the output voltage being lower than 30 volt, so 24, 12, and 5, because I don't know what you're going to receive at this end of the cable, right? There's going to be some drop there, especially if you're near that 100 watts. And so, yeah, it could be below 48 volts, could be above 48 volts, I don't know. So it always will require some buck conversion on the other end. So for now, or at least in the foreseeable future, that in my plans, 48 volt won't be supported. But if you're running 48 volt LEDs, you might not need this solution, right? I believe one of these is about 10 bucks. Yeah, these are just from AliExpress. You can look up the XWST company and you can check out the buck converters. No, we might resell them if I can get them and sell them for a decent price. But if AliExpress is going to be cheaper anyway, yeah, no need for me to sell them also. But we'll look into that. Yeah, especially the integrated boards should be a lot smaller, because these boards are basically designed to be the same size as the buck converter, because the buck converter basically mounts to it, and then only the terminals and some status LED poke out, so you can still screw in and out your LEDs. Same with this guy. Here you have the RGB ports and the positive sticking out, so you can still reach them. But other than that, it's all beneath the buck converter, basically. But if I can integrate the buck converter and make a dual-sided board and yada yada, and lower the power output a bit, because I don't think I'll be able to build a 6 amp buck converter in a small size, because, well, this isn't that big for nothing. Yeah, you'll have some lower output options which are smaller. Currently, I'm planning on having some 3D printable cases designed. Not yet any injection molding or something like that, because I don't know how high volume this product is actually going to be, right? I think this is a very nice solution, especially if you want to build this in your house and use it for all kinds of LED lighting in your home. But others need to think that too, so yeah. Nothing is available, well, none of this is available for purchase right now. This is all future plans and prototypes. Well, I guess the buck converters are available, because they're not mine. LEDs over Ethernet, Lowy. I don't know, maybe. The 8th got chopped. I couldn't make it. No, I couldn't fit it on the board, and I actually needed the 8th channel to do I2C. So later this year, yeah, that's what I'm targeting. Yeah. And like this sender board is fully compatible with the Dig Octa system, so you can actually integrate it into an existing stack if you wanted to. Use one brain board, use multiple brain boards. So if you want to run lots and lots of LEDs, you can see that they are plugged in using these cables. So you could actually have 3 brain boards on here, which then each feed 1 or 2 cables to these channels. So you can share this sender board with multiple brain boards if you wanted to. Will there be a 4-channel sender so I can use 2 on the Octa. No. Currently, the Sender-7 is planned and a Sender-1. And that's it for now. Maybe in a future phase. But the system is fully modular. So if you wanted more sender boards, you can stack more sender boards. And if you need more brain boards, you can stack more brain boards. So you can expand it just the way you want. And, you know, currently this is matched together. But if I add another brain board and just replace this plug from the other brain board, that's fine. Or, you know, I just need 8 sender channels. Yeah, well then you're out of luck. But then you're also going to quickly run out of addressable LEDs and performance and things like that. But yeah, maybe in the future. I have some plans there, but not in phase 1. Sure, Don, hit me up in the Discord. It's always cool to take a look. Right, so for today, let's use this one. Let's disconnect this. Because this is the stream where we break stuff, or at least try to. I hope it doesn't break, but I don't know. For today, we're going to test the hot pluggability, if that's a thing. Because, well, as you've seen me doing during this stream, you can hot plug. Oh, this is in the wrong output port, I think. Yeah, that's not going to do much. Okay, let's plug it in here. Then you need 8 times Sender-1 boards. Yeah. So for today, let's turn this up a little bit so there's a little bit of power flowing through there. There. Well, we said we're going to break stuff. I don't think it'll explode, but I will use my safety glasses. I will put this to the side. And for starters, we'll start on this side. And I'm just going to, you know, unplug this and then plug it back in again without waiting. Okay, that worked. So unplug it, wait a little bit, okay, plug it back in again. Yeah, still working. So if we do it really quickly, no, still working. Again. So in previous iterations, the hot plugging, because there's 55 volt there, could sometimes, you know, destroy the RS485 chip. I think I actually, yeah, there's already one missing here, because I destroyed that one, but then I changed some stuff to improve it. So we're just going to keep plugging this until it breaks. If it breaks. I hope it doesn't break, because that would be sad, because there's a lot of development time that went in there. And I mean, how often in practice are you going to be replugging this? Because I have a delay per port built in that, especially if it's not been plugged in for a while, like so, if you plug it in, it takes a little bit for this thing to activate, right? So that's my hot plugging system. But if you're really quick, like so, yeah, it still works, but it, for some reason, the delay is less long, and it has to do with capacitors and charges and things like that. But, you know, how often are you going to rapidly plug in or unplug something like this? So far, this is working pretty good. That's also why the stream is called hot plugging until it dies. Okay. For sparks, we'll do anything. Hey there, Philip. Philip has been there. Some of you might also have been there in live streams where I actually killed a few channels. But so far, this is doing pretty good. Now you could say, okay, but you're hot plugging while there's not a lot of power there. So, okay, let's go. We're doing 0.5 amps, but that's 25 watts, and this that's almost the maximum of this buck converter. So, okay, let's plug it like that. And we do have to have something moving, I guess, because otherwise we don't know if it's working. Fairy? Yeah, okay, that twinkles a little bit. So now it's using 21 watts. Oh, you're a bit late because we're installing analog LEDs, but it's not working right. What? What's not working? So far, this is working. And again, this is a 50-meter cable. Well, PoE is also hot pluggable. What should happen? Well, what should happen is that it doesn't die. But PoE actually has a lot of protections in there to make sure it doesn't die. And my board now also has a lot of protections to make sure it doesn't die. If you don't have those protections, it will die very quickly. When you turn on the warm white channel, the controller resets. What? That's odd. Okay. Okay, well, so I don't know. Has anyone been keeping count? So far, this is still working. Okay. Before we go to rapid plugging mode, whatever that is, let's try and, hot plug the other side. I'll just keep plugging until, while we wait for Philip's story. Generally, that should work. Yeah, Philip? So, I mean, yeah, okay, that shouldn't be a problem. I mean, with this, I would say that hot plugging is okay. Doesn't instantly break. It's odd the controller resets though. I'm not sure how the LED strip can cause that. Unless indeed the power supply shuts off. Or it resets or something like that because it detects a short. I'm just gonna keep going. So when is it a viable product and doesn't die anymore? If it survives 50 hot plugs? It's still working. That's tomorrow's Philip's problem. Yeah, exactly. Now we're hot plugging stuff. Plug the board into the cable rather than other way around. Plug the board? What? How do you mean? Okay, I think this has been proven. So now we're going into hyper rapid mode. I mean, shielded is fine. It doesn't add anything, but you know, you can use it. Make the LEDs pink. Will that help? So, okay, that's a good question, Philip. If you look at these LEDs, these ports are in standby mode, basically, and this port is in on mode. And I get that the brightness of the LED isn't that visible. That's because I'm sending out 5 volt to be able to detect a remote board. And once a remote board is connected and power is enabled, it gets 55 volt. And that's basically the difference in the LED brightness you see. No, all of this is arranged by hardware. So there's no controller action going on there in this version. Okay, so let's go to rapid plugging mode. Let me make it easy on myself, like that. Okay, so plug. We're just gonna, you know, maybe plug it 10 times before it even turns on, like that. It's flashing. I'm not sure that's a good sign. So, okay, like that, like that. Uh-oh. Okay, I think I might have killed it. Let's wait for it to turn off, if it still turns off. Okay, it's still turned off. That's a good sign. Oh. It was dead for a little bit, and then it recovered. Let's do some fireworks. Yeah, flow. Seems to be okay. Let me make it a brightness you can also see. I think we almost killed it. Is that a thing? Let's go to rainbow. There. Okay. So, did it almost die? That's not happy. Let's wait for it to die down, if it still does. It still dies down. That means I didn't kill the MOSFET yet. I don't know about that, though. That is a bit weird. It didn't used to do that. So, let's see if we replug it normally. Yeah. I think something is dead, just not completely. I don't know. Yeah, reboot the control. Okay, let's turn off the power. Let's wait for the capacitors to drain a little bit, stuff like that. I don't know what filled yet there, Piotr, so it's a bit hard to say. Or if anything failed. Okay, let's turn it on again. So it is turning on too quickly, right? Let me see if the software turn off still works. Yeah, okay, it still turns off the remote board. That's good. Let's turn it on again. Yeah, something's not happy. Well, another channel wouldn't be affected. We can try this channel, but it's not configured correctly. You can see a few LEDs here because it's configured differently. But yeah, I think the issue is on this side of the board. Yeah. Not sure what is messed up. Not... No smoke, not broken. Continue hot plugging faster. Yes, you're correct that you heard it. Hold on, let me mute the music. So, and let me angle this down. And what you're hearing, I think, is the MOSFET turning on and off real quick. So let's try it. It's not supposed to do that. Let me check how hot it's getting. So let's see. Nothing out of the ordinary. Okay, now I need to somehow plug it in. So I'm going to plug in this side while looking at it. Oh, that's not right. Okay, if we look here, you can see a dim LED glowing while this side is not connected, right? If we move to this channel, that doesn't happen. So something broke, right? That dim LED shouldn't light up like that. Okay, let's try and... I don't know how to do this. I have to be quick. Plug it in, see what's going on. Yeah, not sure what's happening there. For some reason, the detection mechanism seems broken, somewhat. Remove the... No, I don't need access. Okay. Yeah, and for some reason, it's also not turning off as fast anymore. Right? It should be off. Okay. So it's still breakable, but only if you, like, really mess with it. Yeah, software turn off still works. Oh, wow. Okay. That didn't work. Okay. Let's try that again. Okay, it's off. Yes, something's messed up. It is dying, yes! Undocumented cease feature. Exactly. Well, okay. Well, there's only one thing to do, and that is keep on plugging it. Wait, did it fix itself? Wait. Did it fix itself? I don't think so. That's not possible, is it? What? Why is it now working again? What? This is expected behavior. Okay. And if I disconnect this? Oh, no. The LED is still very, very dimly glowing. The AI overlords have corrected the problem. Yes, exactly. It could be a fuse cooling off, but I think we'd given it enough time. So by mashing it again, it's better now. If it's broken a bit, just unplug faster. Oh, no, that's bad. Still working, though. No, okay. So then we continue our hot plugging madness. Poor little board. There. Nope, still working. Well, somewhat. Me when the device won't get an IP. Poor little device. Okay, let's turn up the power again. See if that maybe makes a difference. Let's also do some white and yeah, there. 32 watts, let's go. Oh, now it's fine again. What? Break off the pin on the top of the connector and speed run it even more. Now, maybe in a minute. Maybe in a minute. Oh. All right, we need to set it to the sparkle effect, or what was it? No, that's not it. Strobe? No, no, no. Twinkle. Nope, that's not enough. What effect were we using before? Flow? Yeah, I guess. Fairy. Yes, that's it. Anything pink, but then it doesn't use the maximum amount of power. Okay, okay. Pinkish? No, that's bluish. Color order isn't set correctly. There, that's the most pink we're gonna get. 15 watts, that's not a lot. Okay, more white. There, 23 watts. There. Okay. So, how is it now just working again? Okay, software off, software on. Faster, faster. Okay, okay, okay. Here we go. The fastest I can possibly plug this. Go. I'm just going to keep going for a little bit here. And then, oh, half inserted and fully inserted. Oh no, I'm really bad at doing UTP plugs and sideways. And oh, in, no, wait, oh, I didn't want to remove it. Okay. Okay, more. So, okay. Oh, yeah, oh, I pulled it out all the way. Oh, no, wait, no, in, no, oh, I don't remember. In, out. Okay. Huh? Okay. Right. Yeah, this still works. Okay, well, I can at least remove these stupid glasses. Oh, it hurt my ears. Now you're getting at the normal consumer behavior. This is normal consumer behavior? Oh, man. I need to reconsider selling products. I mean, if this is normal consumer behavior, I don't know what is. Okay. Well, that was this board. Let's try it with the analog board. Right? For the spa day after hot plugging. Thanks there, Draadstaal. That's very kind. And we'll use the other port, because that's configured for this, you know. I have to use the in port. There. Okay. This is drawing... Oh, it's only drawing 28 watts. It's not a lot. But it's already a maximum. Let's do this. 38 watts. Okay, let's do it. But you can't really see it fluctuate anymore. Fade? Yeah, I guess. Fade and white. There. Okay, more hot plugging. We'll just continue the hyper plugging first. I'm just going to go like that. How's that? Yeah, no. Still okay. Yeah, we want more power, don't we? Okay, we can hook up more power. So let's take one of these. Let's put this over here. Let's take one of these bodged ones, because I didn't have enough of the black buck converters. So this has a 240 watt buck converter on there. And let's get some really high power LED strip. Hold on. Oh wait, maybe I have some here. No. 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 Okay, we have some 1 meter length Oxmer strips. These are 28.8 watt per meter. So if we hook up 4, that should give us some decent power output, right? So let's put those here. And let's prepare this little board. And we have a 240 watt buck converter, so I mean that's not going to limit us either. I'm not sure I'm going to have enough positive plug. Red tape. No, well normally that's not good, but in this case this board isn't compatible with that buck converter and you know. So let's see if we can get all the positive wires in here. That's one. Oh, we might actually blow the fuse. No, maybe. I don't know. Two. Oh, I can only get 3 positive wires in there. Okay. There. So we're going to use 3 for now. And let's hook those up to RGB so we can vary the power output. So R. Yeah, I can use a Wago, but I think 3 is okay to start with. And then B. There. Okay, let's hook that up. I need more cable in there. Okay, and now I need to set it to white. Are they all working? Yes. Let's set it to solid. Okay, it's still only 55 watts. Why? Am I limiting something? Ah! Oh. Okay. Something broke. I was indeed limiting something. But something... Oh, wait. What kind of fuse is in there? I think there's a 2 amp fuse in there where you just blew the fuse. Yeah, okay. So the board is online, but we accidentally blew the fuse. So let me fix that. Okay, let's disconnect it while we do that. Okay. I should have some sacrificial boards here. What kind of fuse is this? 5 amp. Better. There. Okay. So we were already hitting 2 amps at the output at least. Okay. Power. Oh no, wait. Board. Power, whatever, everything at the same time. Okay. Let's raise this again. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh wow. 103 watts. That's it. That's good. You can see I'm not lying. There's the sun on this side of my room. Okay. Let's put that over here, and I'll try and get the LED somewhat in the shot. So we're seeing 1.94 amps and 106 watts. Power supply immediately starts making noise. Melting strips inbound. Yeah, we better unplug them. Oh wait, no, I didn't mean to do that. Let's plug them back in. Oh no. Oh no. Oh wait, I can't make up my mind. Should these plug strips be plugged in or not? Okay. I don't remember. Wait, no. Should they... Oh, okay. Let's plug them in. Let's not... Oh, no, wait. I can't decide. Should they be plugged in? Should they not be plugged in? Let's plug them in faster. Halfway. Oh, okay. Yeah, no. Still fine. Well, it's not doing an effect. Let's do... Well, no, if I do an effect, I don't have the power. Okay. We'll do an effect in a minute. There. Let's turn the music back on. Okay. Let's go to color loop. Since they're connected to R, G, and B, this should loop nicely. Yeah, it still works. You will get a tan, yes. So we have one port that is slightly broken and another that is doing fine. Let's hook up the slightly broken at the same time. Maybe that does something. So let's get this guy and plug it into here. No, it just works exactly as it should. Okay. So we broke it somewhat, and then it fixed itself? I don't understand. Yeah, because now the LED isn't even on anymore. And it also doesn't prematurely, yeah, turn on. Yeah, now this works as it should again. And this is working fine. Okay. I think it's time for Dr. Pepper. But this one is now warm. I have a second one, so I'm going to get that one. Hold on. Okay. Well, terminators have been known to reroute around damaged ports. Are you saying my board now has AI? The two little bottles. Do you know how long I've waited to get a Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar? I've been waiting for 2 years. I finally found one in Belgium, of all places. So, let's see. In Ude? Why? Thank you. It's pretty peppery. Dr. Peppery. Yeah, exactly, Philip. In Belgium. Who likes Dr. Pepper? I like Dr. Pepper, but, you know, I can't take too much sugar, so I haven't been able to drink it in years. And now there is the... my hand's in front of it. Zero sugar version. Meanwhile, all the LEDs are still blinking away. Oh, right. Even this... these analog LEDs are being fed over a 50-meter cable. Just works. Have it branded AI. Well, what else could it have been, right? I mean, it just magically fixed itself. Maybe I should hot plug them both at the same time. So this one goes out. Oh no, well, that's already taking too long. Okay, so, okay, yeah, no, oh no, oh no. Oh, this one shouldn't have gone here, it should go here. And this one also. Yeah, no, makes no difference. Okay. So I'm gonna make a poll. Hold on. There. You guys decide. Should I make a new poll if I should put AI on the box? Maybe I should just rebrand everything to Quinn LED AI. You can't protect against stupid people. Well, I certainly try. I mean, I think this is protection enough against stupid people. They can always do something that'll burn it up or break it, whatever. It's fused many ways. There's like multiple fuses in there. On the output boards, on the input, on this side, you know, at some point, I don't know. Make a device that enables hot plugging 7 connectors at the same time. So like, yeah, I don't know. When would that happen? Now we are going to do one more hot plugging test, which is more dangerous. That's going to be the last test on the stream, and then I might share a secret. I'm not sure yet. We'll see. So let's turn off the power. Okay. Let's turn on the power again. Yep, that also still works fine. You want more? Oh, so you can change your no to a yes then, Philip. Hot plugging the PSU. What? No, no, we're not going to hot plug the PSU. I don't have any hot plug protection for that. Okay, so this has been working. Okay, let's power this off. Let's do a software power off, and then we can remove this. Okay, we don't need the digital part right now. We need the analog part. Because one of the things the analog part allows, so we don't need this side of the board right now. We don't need this one. Is if you look on the analog board, it has an input and an output. And that means that you can actually daisy chain multiple of these boards in series if you need them at multiple locations. Let's say you want 3 or 4 downlights in one location, and then instead of having to pull another wire from over here, you can daisy chain it on the cable to another spot where you need another 3 or 4 downlights. And these downlights are like, I don't know, 8 or 10 watts a piece. And since you can run 100 watts of cable, you can easily do that using multiple boards. So you can make a choice. You can run one or multiple, like, you know, downlights from a single board, or if you want them to be individually controllable, you can daisy chain them, and each board in the chain will be individually controllable until you reach the 100 watts or something like that, and then you still need a new channel and a new cable, of course. But this makes it very flexible in how you lay this out. You said it's more dangerous. Yeah, well, hold on. Okay, let me end the poll here. We're at 92% yes. I'll take that. So now I'm ending the poll. Okay, let's see, 24 votes, 91% yes, 8% no. Okay, and the no's, would they care to explain their no? This is anonymous. Well, not if you explain yourself, but I would really be interested to hear why it's a no. Maybe because it did break, but... So plug on 300 watts of boards to blow up stuff. Oh, that's actually one thing we could also do with multiple boards in the chain. We could try and overload a port. My no is because it didn't break yet. Okay. So anyway, what we can do is, it's currently still software off. We can add a cable like that and plug it into this one to basically daisy chain it like so. And now these are individually controllable. So let's power that on. Right? Yeah, okay. This one's gonna turn off. Why is it turned off? Shouldn't it be color looping? Hello? It's on. Did I not configure enough pixels? No, I did. Did I break it already? It's in the input port. Yeah. Okay. Not sure. Let's try that again. Is the segment wrong? Okay, let me try and figure out why it's not doing anything, because in my opinion it should. No, I popped the fuse on this one and I replaced it. And this fuse is an output fuse, not a loop-through fuse. Oh, it could be that I popped the fuse on this one. That's what you mean. I think actually you're right. Because I couldn't get the 5 amp fuses I wanted, so I had them populated with a 2 amp fuse. Because it was like, oh, I'll replace the fuse when I install them. And likely what happened is indeed that I popped this output fuse. I voted no because we can't explain the behavior it had. So not a hard no, and I'm not one to judge in the first place, but still it's unknown behavior, right? Yeah, okay, sure. That's fine. I will probably do the same test again, but then with a scope on it. Yeah, this also had a 2 amp fuse. Okay. It's probably going to light up a little bit. Okay. There. I need to borrow a fuse from another prototype again. I'm doing that a lot though. Let's see, what's this? 5 amp, good. There. Let's screw this back together. Right, I'm doing things you can't see. That sucks. So yeah, the way it's made, this terminal is for the buck input, and then 2 grounds, and then the buck output again. So you basically just mount the buck converter on it like that. I don't have the cables cut, so they're very long, but you could of course cut the cables shorter so that the loop is a bit smaller. And then using posts, you just screw the buck converter onto the board. Okay. Right, plug this in on the input side. There. And, okay, let's keep this on screen and this a little bit on screen. There. Let's enable the power. Yes, that was likely it. Yeah, okay, so now it's doing effecty again. Now, a fun thing we could do is try and overload the output port, because that has 3 times 700 milliamp PTC. So if we draw too much power, that should eventually close. It's magic what a fuse can do, exactly. You will allow orange LEDs tomorrow. Ah, nice. Right. So, let's see. Which channel is it? I'm thinking... Oh, let's move this over here, I guess. There. I'm thinking it's this one. No. Let's see. Where's my finger? Okay, we need more output power. I don't know what channel it is. Solid. Okay, I think it's this channel. You can also see... sadly, I can't stream this camera yet. Let's see. Let's go. 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 Okay, we're drawing 3.8 amps. It's 70 degrees, 75, 80. Okay, there it goes. Yeah, now the PTCs are 100 degrees, 110. And we're drawing 0.28 watts because, well, the PTCs are now limiting. I don't think turning down brightness will be enough. Flicker choke. Yeah, that's likely because the buck converters don't know what to do with that. Okay, so turning down the brightness isn't enough. It's still closed, or open, I guess I should say, at 110 degrees. So now let's do a software turn off. Okay, now it's down to 75, 60, 65, 62, 59, 57, 56. Okay. So I'm raising the brightness a little bit again. Okay, let's see. 50. Oh, wait. Raising the brightness also turned it on again. Okay, but the PTCs are now at 48 degrees. And, well, they're working again, it seems. Let's see. Turning it up. Turning it down. Yeah. Let's see if we can do some blends. Let's turn this off. Yeah, that still seems to be working fine. So, yeah, if you overdraw a single channel or something goes wrong and it starts drawing way too much power, there are auto reset fuses on the board which will automatically trigger and then prevent a catastrophe, basically. But that also means that you'll be limited to how much you can draw from a single port. But I'd rather have hardware protections there so that you can't actually overdraw this cable, or if somebody somehow short circuits it or whatever, then, you know, the board should be protected. And it was a good test because the port basically closed. It still allowed a little bit of power, but not that much. And more importantly, the controller itself stayed online. So we could do a software shut off, and then they cooled down, and then everything was fine again. So that's good. So what we're going to do now is more interesting. This is the dangerous part. The circuit for the delayed turn on to enable hot plugging is on this board. That means if we go from this board to this board, and then from this board to here, there is no hot plugging circuit there. I mean, in theory, I guess I could build it onto each of the boards, which has a loop-through function, but that would likely make it even bigger and absolutely certainly more expensive. So I have opted for the receiver boards not to have the hot plugging feature, only the sender board. Thanks, Piotr. Yeah, you know, that's how it goes. So, hot plugging a daisy-chained board from this to this is actually more dangerous than hot plugging this, which we've been doing, right? What I would advise is to at least software turn off these boards there, and then plug in whatever you need, work on it, and, you know, mess with it, blah, 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 there, and then turn it on again. There. No problem. Oh, why were we white and now not anymore? I don't know. Why did it do that? Okay, let's put it to color loop. There. Let's try that again. Software turn off. Okay. Software turn on. Okay, that works as expected. Good. So, as I said, I advise to hot plug only when daisy-chained boards only when power is turned off, or all the power is turned off, or at least the first board is unplugged, right? But let's see what happens if we hot plug a secondary board anyway. I don't know. So, there. See, there's no delayed turn on there, so that makes it dangerous with the 55 volt running through there. There are, of course, all kinds of hardware protections next to the delayed turn on. But, yeah, this will eventually die, I think. So far, it's fine. So basically, this will be unsupported, right? Still, it would be nice if it didn't kill itself the first try. And so far, that seems to be working okay. Okay, let's make it a bit harder. I need to change the segments a bit. This is going to 301, and this is 301 to 302. Yes, I think 303, 300. I'm trying to segregate these boards to see if I can do that. Let me check the configuration real quick. 300, 3. Oh. I do not understand. Ah, there we go. Okay, so let's make this 301. Yes, that's what I wanted. And now I'm making a new segment. 302. And then I'm going to control that segment to do... Wait, now why is this still not working? Hold on. Yeah, that's good. Solid. Okay. So now I can put this to white and this to white there. So now it's drawing the max amount of power. Well, let's give it a bit more. Let's turn this one off. Okay, so now just this one is drawing 50 watts. Okay, so let's turn that on again. So now in total we're drawing 75 watts. Hey there, Dave. And we're going to hot plug it again. I think it'll die, but we'll see. Okay. Let's do that a few times. Okay, let's turn on an effect to see if it's still working. Yeah, still working fine. Let's see, how much power does it use when doing this? 34. It's not a lot. Okay, let's turn this down. Let's turn this up. Okay, so, well, you can't see that, can you? Well, like this you can, but then it's not using a lot of watts. Yeah, okay. Now, it's using 50 watts. You can't really see the effect, but it's doing an effect. Okay. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Okay. So I plugged it in, and these stopped working. Did I kill it? No. It's still working. What? Okay, let's keep going then. It seems the output protections I have on there are more resilient than I thought. So far, so good. Harder. Oh, it flickered. Okay, let's try it on this side. Oh, this board's nice and warm. Oh, the buck converter's warm. Okay. Still not dead. Okay. Let me turn the white off. Yeah, it's still working. Plug it into the output port. What do you mean? Oh, plug it into the output port on this side? That's not something I've tested. Okay, here goes nothing. Yeah. Okay, port's online. Well, it's not getting data because the input is not getting data. So let's plug it into the input again. Yeah, okay, it makes no difference. Yeah. So you can plug it into the output. It'll get power. That is what stupid users would do. Very true. So yeah, it'll get power. Like that. The others in the chain are not affected. That's good. It just doesn't work with the data. But it doesn't break anything either. Seems harder to kill than predicted. Yeah, exactly. Well, that's good. Yeah. Uh-oh. Okay, so this is a broken state somehow. It was drawing unlimited power, so the PTCs here shut it off. So let's plug it in again. Okay, so maybe at some point something gets misaligned. I don't know. And then it does the weird thing, but then the hardware protection over here takes over and shuts down the power. And then it works fine. Pour some liquid on it. No, we're not gonna. So when are we getting stock? Well, this is a few months out at least. But it's getting there. I mean, we've done previous streams where we killed it in a minute or so. We're doing destructive testing, but poorly. Hey there, Dons. Yeah, so even the daisy-chained one seems to be okay. Still, I wouldn't advise this. But it's also not breaking. Well, if melted snow drops into it and it creates a short circuit, there's all kinds of fuses on the board for the onboard electronics. And then, let's say it fries those two. And it fries the buck converter and fries everything, and it starts drawing unlimited amount of power, then the fuses on this side take over and shut it off, just like we just saw. Yeah, I know, Draadstaal. I've been trying. Hey, we blew up something in the last stream, Philip. There was fire and everything. I since fixed that issue. But still, there was fire and everything. Yeah, I am sure too, Soren. I'm quite sure that will kill it. Although, with how many fuses are on here, it might actually, still cut it off. No, there was a short for that fire. You don't remember if you were there or not. What kind of CEO are you? I mean, I'm doing all the work here and then you don't show up. I missed a fire? What? Yes. Last week, we burned a hole into my Dig Next prototype. This little guy here, that was totally broken and it spit out some fire in resistance. I have since replaced it and now it's working fine again. And I have changed the circuit a little bit, so that shouldn't happen anymore. That is true. That is true. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I doubted you, Philip. That's true. So yeah. I would have thought this would have broken already. Okay, let's make it harder. Let's reverse it. Let's get this guy over here. So now, yeah, this one goes in here. There. And this guy goes in here. Okay. Yeah, that makes no difference. Huh. Well, we've been testing. I mean, how many testing do you need me to do? We can unplug this one and plug it in again. That works fine. There we go. I can unplug this one. And I mean, I don't advise doing that, but it still works fine. This one. Yeah. Okay. That is something we will not test in this stream, Johnny, but we will test it at some point in the future. A cross cable. I don't actually own any cross cables anymore. Take a shorted RJ45 cable. Well, shorted to what? Okay, let's make it a third stream, and we'll move to a secret. Where we try a badly crimped RJ45 cable, plugging it into a switch, and plugging it into Diff Advanced and Diff Solo. All at once. No. We'll make a stream, Diff Solo, Diff Advanced, cross cable, shorted cable, switch. Okay? That'll be its own stream. That'll be its own stream. Okay, let's dismantle this. Okay, I need to unscrew this. My induced connection to Quinder at stream. Well, then you know something went wrong. We had a stream where we blew up the house breakers a few times. Yeah, hold on. So this system is of course all nice and dandy and, you know, cool for LED strips, but we all also like to use downlights. And CJ actually pointed me towards these, and I've ordered lots of testing samples. And let's try some today. Let's see, I have a whole selection, so I need to choose some. Hold on. RGB. Yeah, let's do these. I don't think there's any branding on there because I don't want to reveal the branding. Because these are OEM samples. They basically only sell them by the hundreds. And let's take a look at those. Okay, oh, let's see. It's like, where's the cable? So these are basically downlights you can put in your ceiling, but the unique property of these are that they are constant voltage instead of constant current. So if you have a few of these and put them in your ceiling, let's wire those up first. Right, so these are, you know, downlights, and this is a RGBW variant with 12 watts, which, you know, is RGB plus 2700K white. I've been testing a few of them. Not sure which I like best, but let's see here. Which is the plus? I think black is the plus. Yes. But I might consider in the future, if there's enough demand for them and I can get them for a good price and maybe customize them a little bit, you know, I could get them for you guys too. Because most downlights you see are CC, so constant current. Now, I might have some products for that in the future. But that is still a bit away, like in phase 3 or something like that. So for now, these could be interesting. So cob LEDs like these have inside of them should be driven with constant current, not constant voltage. Now, the ones I have in my home, I've also made videos about, and I've been doing that for 10 years, driving them with constant current. So it can be done, but driving them with constant voltage or constant current is basically the better way than doing it kind of bodged with constant voltage, right? But constant current drivers are just a lot harder to get. And these have a little board in them which convert the constant voltage to constant current. So that's what makes them interesting. Now, as I mentioned before, you can use one of these boards and buck converters per light, but that's quickly going to become expensive. But if you want to have them individually controllable, that's what you need to do. Now, you wouldn't use one of these bigger boards. You'd use one of the smaller boards I also have upcoming with an integrated buck converter, things like that. But still, it would be expensive. But this converter outputs 24 volt at 10 amps. Now this board is about 5-6 amps max, so you can easily hook up multiple of these lights to a single board. What's the trade-off for constant voltage? Yeah, there isn't really a trade-off. In theory, constant current is a little bit more efficient, but it very much depends on the way it's constructed, if that's true or not. In this case, that's not true. And oh wait, I think I plugged this in the wrong way. No, I did not. It just depends on the type or the LED setup it has, basically. So constant current can work with LEDs without resistors, and constant voltage needs resistors. So that's in theory why constant current is more efficient than constant voltage. and constant current adjusts the voltage to what the LED or the cob LED at that moment needs. So if the cob LED inside of here, I can actually show you, is still cool, it'll likely want like 18 or 19 volts at a certain milliamp. So let's say 300 milliamp. But once it warms up, it will actually start requesting a different voltage. So it'll want, instead of 18 or 19 volts, it wants 22 volts at 300 milliamp, or the other way around, or whatever. So the LED will actually change its voltage while the amps or the current stay the same. And that's why constant current, especially for cob LEDs like this, is better than constant voltage. Now this is a hybrid, so the cob in here is a constant current, but inside of this light module here, they have a little converter board. So that makes it very interesting, because then we can drive it with constant voltage, but the LEDs are still driven with constant current. So that's, you know, the ideal way to do it. And yeah, there's a little... Oh. There's a little cob LED in there. So it has the red, green, and blue. And then it has a warm white ring around it. And then it has a little lens and diffuser. And that screws together like this. And they have a ceiling mount for that. So you can click it into your hole, into your ceiling. So this whole part goes into your ceiling basically. And then disappears. As I said, these are only available in bulk. So I might, you know, have them make some custom versions for me. And, you know, then I could sell them to you guys if the interest is there. But, yeah. Okay, let's just plug these in. In theory, that'll work. No. Oh, power is off. I was going to say. There we go. Okay. Yeah, we're still in the color changing pattern, I guess. And I think I need to up this. Yeah. Yeah, we're still in the color loop. Oh, we're in blends. Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's a decent looking cob chip, because if we go to solid, red, wait, wrong segment, solid, red, yeah. So we can see the red, green, blue, magenta. That's all nicely mixed. And if we disable the color but go to the white channel, yeah, it has a pleasant white. We can actually measure that real quick. These should be a decent CRI, or actually a good CRI. Okay, whatever. Let's turn off the studio light. Let's put it right in front of it. Go. It's not bright enough. Hold on. No, that's the back wall. Oh, I closed it. Ah. Okay, I'm messing things up. Hold on. Was it this one? No, I don't remember the IP. Oh no, 114. No, that's not right. There. Okay, more power. There, okay. Yeah, they're using some interesting cobs there. Okay, so now it's measuring quick enough. Okay, yeah. I mean, let me see myself. If you look at it's a nice 2700. It's not focusing there. It's a nice 2672, so it's a good 2700K, and it has a CRI of 97.8, which is really high. And we should be doing about 4 kilohertz. Yeah, so we have but that is done by my board. So my board is sending out a 4 kilohertz PWM signal. So that's also doing it right. Okay. But as you can see here, or for instance this graph here, it has a very nice CRI distribution with even R9 being 93. So that is very high quality. Some red-green banding? Oh, that's Moray. So there is a pattern on the desk, and that pattern is basically, yeah. How do you explain that? Moray pattern. Let's see. Yeah, let me just post this link with images. Oh no, that link is way too big. Okay. Yeah, okay, I don't know where to find this, but basically it's Moray, so you can Google that. Google this. That's not in the light. That is the camera sensor trying to make sense of the pattern it's seeing, basically, right? Okay, so you can see the PWM because it's running at 4 kilohertz. You can run these higher. I've tested them up to 20 kilohertz, and that works fine. But that won't be currently available on the Diff-Power system. Yeah. Okay, so now currently 2 of these lights are using 13 watts of power. So one is about 6 watts, I'd say. And we can add in some color. Let's go red. Yeah, now we're using 19 watts. Stream is only 60 hertz. Yeah, but my camera shutter speed is something different, Johnny. You can nicely mix white with other colors or just have the dedicated color. Yeah, and at 100%, these shouldn't show any PWM. I don't think so. No. And if I lower them... Yeah, if I go lower, you can see a bit of PWM, because it's 4 kilohertz, and it likely doesn't align correctly with the current shutter speed. This is full brightness, yeah. This is full brightness. So if I light myself up, these are 36 degree angle, so maybe I can use the back wall, yeah. They're fairly bright, that's pretty okay. Hulk Q! But these are one of the higher output models. I wish they had even higher ones. Because, yeah, okay. Yeah, these now also don't show any PWM. That's good. Yeah, they're not the brightest. I mean, they're okay. But they're not the brightest. So you'll need multiple of them. But that's also where, well, basically this system comes in. Instead of needing a driver board per light, you can now use multiple lights for one driver and then still daisy chain to multiple drivers, or receiver boards as I call them, to have those individually controllable. No, these are not, they're not even warm to the touch. No, no, no. Not at these power levels, no. I have a different one, which has an 1800K plus 4500K cob in there. And if you activate those both to get around 3000 or like say 2700K like these, then it gets hot, but it also has a lot more output power, so that's nice. That's one I actually like the most, but I'm not sure I have those here. Oh, I have a variant of those here. So, hold on. So I have some that are 1800K plus 4500K. This is a 60 degree, so it's only 8 watts, but I have a 35 degree, just like these, which is 12 watts as all testing samples. And because it's 1800 plus 4500K, you can actually mix both channels at pretty high output levels to get like 2700 or 3000K or whatever you like. And because you're using both channels and it's a 12 watt variant or this 8 watt variant, you can actually get a pretty decent output level. Because I said these are somewhat dim. They're not dim, but they're not very bright either. So you'd need a few in the spot instead of only 1 or 2, right? So you'd buy 4 or 6 instead of 3 or 4. That's basically it. But then you can do colors. Or if you use a driver per light, you can do a color per light. Yeah. But since these are all connected to a single board, they'll also only do a single color for all of them. I can hook up the this one real quick. I think, let me check. Yeah. So again, this is a cob style LED. But this one has 1800 plus 4500K in there. Yes, I'll show you in a second, Chris. So in this case, red is positive. But these would be compatible with all the analog Quin LED boards, which make them interesting for me to maybe carry, so they're easier to get for you guys. Or the analog Quin LED boards, or dig to analogs also. Yeah. So now I need to hook up this one. They don't come with it by default, but it is something they have in their catalog. I'll show you in a second after testing this light. Okay? So as I said, this light is different. This has an 1800 Kelvin and a 4500 Kelvin cob in there. So let's turn on the power. Let's turn off this guy. Okay, well, since it's now doing color, this one does nothing. So let's go to solid. Let's turn off the color. Let's turn on the white. And, well, these have a single white color. But if we go to full... Oh, we're currently on fully warm white. You can see that if you compare them, this one is really orange, yellow, reddish, because it's 1800 Kelvin. And if we go to the warm white, these, or the cold white, these turn off because they're RGBW, not CCT. This one's CCT. And now we have a much colder light. And then you can, you know, kind of mix them. Let's see, a little bit more. Yeah, I guess like that, to basically match them. So because you have the 1800 and the 4500, you can pick a shade of white that you like, which I really like from that option. Right? I can measure it real quick. So this has 91 CRI, that's also fine. We're at 87 R9, that's quite good. Yeah. It'll depend on how you mix it. So yeah, if you want a colder light during the day, or you want a warmer light during the night, or whatever you're doing, a CCT option like this would allow for that. They also have a RGB CCT option, so you can also have color, but I really don't like that one, the way it's currently constructed. They have two models. I don't like both of them. So I'm not going to show you those. But these, I think, are interesting. But let me know, especially if you're watching this later, let me know in the comments if you'd be interested in me releasing my own versions of these. I partner with them. Of these, so you can have easy downlights, basically. This one has a slightly transparent edge, yeah. These don't. So they do have ceiling brackets. Yeah, okay. I've only been playing with these for a few days. So they have a ceiling bracket like that, so you can clip it into your ceiling. And this ring, this inner ring, basically comes out. And you put the light through it like that. And they have a little clip retention system here. So you basically put that over the light. There. Probably the wrong way to do that, but I don't know. Doesn't want to go fully down on this one. Might need to bend it a little bit. I don't know. Anyway, you clip it in there like so, and then this clips in here and basically locks down. And let me turn this down. You then have a pivoting light like so, and you have the clips to mount it into your ceiling hole, etc. Let me enable the lights again. So yeah, this way you can basically convert it into a ceiling light, which can still, you know, swivel. And the clip basically works the same way on all the lights as far as I'm aware. So let's take this out. Let's take that off. Let's take this guy. Or at least on the samples I ordered, these should all be the same. I don't know, this springy thingy I didn't have on my previous test. I'm not sure why that is, but yeah, this then slots in there again. And now we have this one in the bracket. All right. Well, you could use these various ways. If you look at my boards, you could run a AN Penta Mini Plus or Deca, which is 15 channels, and you could run cables to where the lights will be installed, but then you'll be doing PWM on long length cables. It's fine. I've been doing that for 10 years already in this home. Doesn't matter. But it could potentially cause problems also. A lot of people do it, but yeah. Or with the Diff-Power system, you can just pull UTP cable everywhere and then have a driver board in one of the cubbies. I'm also going to have smaller ones. And then daisy chain a few lights off of that, and then you can even daisy chain the driver boards if you need to. So the way I envision it, I have my Diff-Power in my central wiring closet. I run UTP to certain spots where I know I want to have spots, and then I can have a single board with a few spots there. I don't really care too much about individual control of each light. If I have 4 or 6 lights in a row, I'll basically never want to address just one of them, but only those 6 at the same time, so I can just use a single board and then maybe go to another spot in the same room, so I don't have to pull a cable from the wiring closet that then feeds another 4 or 6 spots in another location in that room. And then, yeah, I can have my downlights, right? But yeah, your house doesn't need to be somewhat prepared for that. It's different than a traditional construction, but I really don't like AC connected lighting. I'd rather much do everything on DC. And, well, this allows for that. So, you know. Ooh, colors. I don't know if these are officially IP67 rated. Yeah, I don't know. There is some electronics in them. I don't think they're officially weather sealed, especially because if you look at the top, yeah, that's just some PCB material that's not sealed. This one also has the cap here. I don't believe it's sealed inside. So, yeah. Oh, okay. LED Lumi also has some water-resistant version. Okay, cool. Yeah, well, those would basically work the same way. So yeah, LED Lumi is one of the resellers of this OEM. As I said, I might investigate making some custom versions that I like, and then buying them in bulk, and then I can resell them. You know, if the interest is there. That yeah. And yeah, I think especially combined with Diff-Power or just the regular analog boards, it would make for a very nice solution. Okay, I feel my energy is going down, so we're going to round off the stream soon. Well, we tried to break Diff-Power. We somewhat broke it, but not completely. I don't know. It's still a bit vague. But I think after plugging it hundreds of times today, I think the hot plugging problem isn't that big of a problem anymore. As I said, I kind of want to make 99.999% sure you can hot plug it, but I still advise to not hot plug it if you can. Now, sometimes it'll always happen, I get that, but yeah, that's why I try to build some protections against that. That if it does happen, it doesn't immediately break your stuff. You know, that wouldn't be nice. So, yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Are there any questions right now? Because otherwise, we're going to call it. Problems at work sucks, Philip. Glad you have your second job as our CEO. Okay, well, if there aren't any question, as Draadstaal says, slam the like button. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you guys in the next video, live stream, or on the Discord. Next week, we might also still have a live stream. I'm not 100% sure yet. And the week after that, we won't have anything because I'll be in China. But yeah, I'll try and figure it out. Sure, Iman. Sure. Okay. Thanks for watching, guys, and catch you guys later. Bye-bye.